The Federation of State Beef Councils has a long history of building beef demand through an effective state and national checkoff partnership. We're pleased to have with us Dan Gattis, who served as the 2024 chair of the Federation for NCBA. Dan, thanks for your service, and maybe tell our viewers a little bit who makes up the Federation of State Beef Councils and why is the work so important to the beef industry?
Well, thank you, Kevin, for giving me the opportunity to talk about this. The Federation of State Beef Councils is made up of the 43 qualified state beef councils across the nation, those that are within each state that do the work of the checkoff. Those members come together in the Federation through their voluntary investment, and what that does is that brings us all together to kind of coordinate that national and state education program back to our consumers. And so, it's really important for us to coordinate that effort so that those dollars are really used efficiently. Those are our producer dollars that are used there, and that's why it's important.
So tell us a little bit more about how that partnership works to achieve some very specific goals you set in terms of beef demand.
So beef demand obviously is the one thing that is most important to us. And so the Federation of State Beef Councils comes together as a national program and coordinates that national and state education effort as well as research efforts.
Okay.
And one of the things that we do to push beef demand is that consumer face focus. It's the beef, it's what's for dinner. And in Texas, our program, it's Beef Loving Texans. And, and those type of programs across the nation is really what you see from a consumer level of what we see, as far as what we do. But a lot of things that you don't see are the research projects that go into nutrition, to go into health, to go into all those types of things that we are able to use in those promotion efforts back to the consumer to give them license to like our product and use our product.
Yeah, that's a great word. Give them license to actually enjoy beef, and I think you've given them that license. Tell us more about some of the benefits maybe that occur between that state and national partnership as opposed to doing something only on either the state or the national level.
The issue really comes down to efficiency of dollars. We have, as whether we like it or not, we have a declining cow herd right now. So the checkoff is based off a dollar per head type of allocation. And so as you have less numbers of cattle, you have less dollars. And so we have to be very efficient with those producer dollars to make sure that we're using them effectively across the nation. So when we coordinate that effort, let me give you an example. Let's say that from a national perspective, we're looking at a type of program that going into certain type of consumer, going after young moms with young children. Yes. So that's a national program that we can look at, and then each individual state can take that information or that program and add to it within their own state. We're still doing national program, but they can add to that spend, which is really exponential in the impact it is with the consumer.
Oh, totally agree. And you mentioned giving consumers license to eat our product. Another key word is trust, isn't it?
Absolutely.
How are you building trust among consumers in beef cattle and beef cattle production?
That goes back to those research questions, those research dollars that we take, producer checkoff dollars, and put in research. We look at nutrition, we look at safety, we look at all those types of issues that are important to the consumer. What we know, Kevin, is that it's the safest, most nutritious product out there. But we have to back that up with actual science. Yes. There's a lot of our competitors, that they just say whatever they want to say. Yeah. We're not allowed to say that based upon using national checkoff dollars unless we can back it up with science. And so we build that trust by having the science to back up when we say that beef and the amino acid profile in protein is really the most bioavailable and most nutritious protein package that you can take in. One of the big issues today is protein and increasing your protein intake. Yeah. What we know through our science and research that beef really is one of the best things you can do for that protein with the lowest amount of calories. So that's building trust with our consumer.
We've got a great message, and I think that message is getting through because it appears we're selling more beef at higher prices than ever before. Thank you all for what you've done to help make that happen.
Absolutely, Kevin. One of the things that we'll go back to is that return on investment dollar. That checkoff dollar brings back $13.41. That's based on the last ROI study to the producer. That's what's important to know. That's to the producer. That's not into the supply chain. That's not to the grocery store. That's not to the retail. That's $13.41 for every dollar we spend in checkoff dollars back to the producer. I think that's a pretty effective way to spend our dollar.
Great success story. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thanks, Kevin.
Now, if you want to learn more about the Federation of State Beef Councils, head to ncba.org and click on the Federation tab.